Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. So appreciate you guys. If you're a new subscriber to this channel, if you've been here since the very beginning, I appreciate it regardless of that. So in today's video, we're actually going to go through some of the things that actually transpired in 2023. Some of the videos that I have are pretty good and pretty interesting, like particularly this one here. This could actually be flares or something. Two other videos that I found in the archive or people may have sent to me that show particular UFOs or UAPs flying in the air. And then also this year, you guys know that we had a couple whistleblowers coming forward, like for instance, David Gersh. He came forward from the UAP task force and talked about a lot of information about it, which was interesting. And then we can't forget the Vegas incident. I still have yet to see good evidence that there was actual alien being back there, but that's still something that actually transpired this year that we'll just take a close look at as well. Some of the things that people saw with it. And we had other interesting things that happened too. We probably won't go in depth in this video, but even NASA tried to have their news conference, which was a total waste of time, so we probably won't touch bases on that. And then even Mexico had their UAP or UFO conference as well, which is pretty interesting. They brought some pretty interesting artifacts to the table, so we'll look at that. But they did have some pretty good UFO footage. So you guys sit back, relax, enjoy this video as much as you can. It's gonna be pretty long, but I'm probably show you guys some footage you've never seen before too, like footage like this, which could be flares or anything. But you guys also know that the channel went through a quick channel change, name change from UFO Conspiracies over to UFO Phenomena. We took a vote on that. UFO Phenomena sound a little bit better than UFO Conspiracy. So I'm going to also show in this video some photos and stuff as well. So if you guys can, go ahead, grab a quick snack or something, sit back, relax, and let's get into it. And let's look at some UFOs, some UAPs, some aliens, and some phenomena that's out there. All right, also jumping right in here, a user had sent this over to me, and it's just going to be really quick, but he said his wife and his son was out in the mountains, and they actually saw this object. She got out, she took a quick photo of it, and by the time she was going to record a video, it actually disappeared. Some people were saying this was a cloud, but if you zoom in on this, this actually does not look like a cloud. I did a video on this, but I did kind of want to just show this to you guys, and I thought this was pretty interesting, and he was really sincere actually when he sent the information over to me. So I'll try to put a link in the description to this video so you guys can see some of the comments and the full video on that. But we'll get on to some of these other photos. This one was also taken here, of course, in the US, and it's just this one photo of it. Now, some of these other photos right here were actually pretty interesting. Sometimes I can agree with a lot of you guys. I do read the comments that it's kind of hard to tell if something's actually just been, someone took a photo of something outside and then they went in and actually add some CGI or did some special effects to it. But as you actually zoom in, it's not just going to be this photo, it's going to be several other photos. You can actually see what looks like your typical flying saucer. Of course, it's got something underneath that looks like it's glowing and stuff. That could be some kind of propulsion system, but you'll see a lot of photos like this. It's kind of funny. When we get something that's pretty clear, we say it's fake, and we get something that's blurry, we say, oh, it's blurry and it's not real. But you guys will see a lot of photos like that. Here's going to be another one. Now, a lot of these people were just out taking pictures of particular things, like this person here, and then they happen to just capture this particular object in the background. And I did mention it's kind of funny in a way, kind of when you zoom in on it, it does look like one of the space shuttles from Star Trek, which you guys can see that there. Not saying that's what that is, but when you kind of zoom in, it just kind of resembles that shape somewhat. Then we're going to have a couple more photos come up. So this photo here, this one's actually interesting. It kind of reminds me of the sport model way, especially the way it's kind of tilted at an angle and flying. And then when you actually start to slowly zoom in, you'll start to actually see the shape of the object. It is metallic, of course, or it's some type of metal, we don't know, but you can actually see the sun reflecting off of it. But when I start to zoom in on it, you'll actually see that this is another typical flying saucer type shaped object that someone actually captured. Now, sometimes these things are so far up, you can't see it, and people just randomly take pictures and they capture this stuff and submit it off to be reviewed. And here it is here. Looks a little bit different than the sport model Bob Lazar always talked about, but you can kind of see the sun is kind of reflecting off there. So I'm saying this actually may be more legit than some of the other photos, but I just want to show you guys some of the best photos that I've gotten so far in 2023 or of last year. Here's going to be another one as well. I believe from this particular photo, they were out taking a picture of the moon. As they actually snapped this particular photo, they actually caught this craft as it flew by. And when we zoom in, you guys will see that, of course, they all have somewhat of a similar saucer type shape to them. Now, does this resemble some of the other ones? I don't know. They all seem to have particular different shapes to them, but I figured this was also one of the best of 2023 to show to you guys as well. Okay, going on to some of the more clearer ones. Now, this one was actually pretty interesting. I got this photo and I got some information for it. I put it out there and you guys had some pretty good comments on it. I'll show you the original photo and then we'll kind of zoom in just a little bit. But this guy was out here and he saw this particular object on this hill. And this is some of the original photo from it. It was actually a little bit small. I tried to blow it up some. But when we actually zoom in on it, we can actually see, once again, your typical flying saucer shape craft that's here. But when you zoom in, you see a lot more detail to it. Now, when I put this out, we kind of commented back and forth. It looked like it may be windows above it, but that could be part of the propulsion system too. Or this could be, as some people said, some type of drone or something like that. I think someone said they saw something on Amazon that looked somewhat familiar, but I didn't get a link or anything to actually reference it. But this was probably one of the more clearer crafts of all these photos I'm actually going to have on here. We can actually see it in depth, see some detail to it too. And if it is a particular UFO, maybe it doesn't have its propulsion system on, because a lot of times when we see these craft and we get them this clear, they don't have their propulsion system that we've kind of identified that would actually surround the craft with an anti-gravity field and actually kind of distort the craft somewhat. I remember Bob Lazar did say when he saw the sport model fly, when he walked underneath it, it actually bent light around it, kind of like the Predator, which was pretty amazing that he talked about that. But he said it's pretty interesting when you walk underneath it, it literally bends light around it so you can kind of see the background, whatever's flying, with the sky or the sun, you can actually see that. And then when you go back around the craft, you can actually see the craft. Now this one here actually doesn't show those characteristics, but I thought this was actually pretty interesting to show to you guys. Now here's going to be another one. There's only 2 photos on this. An elderly couple or elderly man actually took these photos. He went out and he took this photo, and as he took it, the craft actually turned and flew away. And these are the only 2 photos. I heard there were more photos, but we don't have them. But these are the only 2 photos that was actually submitted to the public. Now this next one, a lot of you guys said that this was actually from a movie. Don't know. I still didn't get movie references to it. So if you guys know, put it down in the comments, because I'd like to actually debunk this if this is going to be a suspect photo. But this was actually one of the better photos too of 2023 that I actually put on the channel. But if this was actually from a movie or something, let me know the name of the movie. So I think somebody said He Who Stares at Goats or something, but I couldn't find any reference for that or anything there. I had to show this one again because I just thought that was actually pretty interesting. Now, we all know about Ed Walters and some of his experience and stuff. Now, early last year, it may have been at the end of 2022, I did get a photo that actually shows this particular craft that he saw more in depth and in more in detail, and it's actually during the daylight. Whether this is legit or not, I don't know, but this is actually a clear photo, and here it is here. Pretty interesting stuff that we got a clear photo of that there. Now this next one, we're kind of suspect on, because you guys see in the far right there corner, you see this UFO, but you don't see a reflection there actually in the water. So this is kind of a give or take. This actually could have been photoshopped and somebody could have added that in, but it's something that I think we should look at as well. Now this next one, I've went over this before. This Paul guy actually got some really good photos. Now how true these photos are, because they're actually really clear, but they were taken in, I believe this was the 50s. But you guys are going to see these photos here, and they're actually pretty good. I believe he said at one point in time he was in contact with them, but look at that. Now, I do believe back then it was a little bit harder to fake some of this stuff, but I also believe that if a craft of this size was actually that low, we might have seen a little bit more in the trees and maybe shadows and stuff like that, but it does have a reflection in the sun and stuff on it. So it's kind of hard to actually call this fake, especially at the time these photos were actually taken. But he got some very, very, very clearer photos than what people are taking nowadays. And this craft is actually really low. So if you guys know more information about this, if this has been debunked, put it down in the comments below. But look at this. Then it tilts up on the side. I don't know if it's shot off from that point or not, but actually some really good photos. So some of the best photos of UFOs of 2023 for this channel. Now, we can't forget particular things like Dr. Stephen Greer had another UFO conference. He did talk about particular things with aliens. So this right here, he actually said, the whole story goes that someone saw some stuff and then they actually drove off and a craft landed in front of them. And then this particular alien being came out and they kind of landed in front of his truck, and he actually got out and kicked the alien down. And when he kicked it down, he saw this circuit board inside of it. So I thought that was pretty interesting. Now, he doesn't have a photo of it, but he actually had an artist go in and actually illustrate this. So I thought that was pretty interesting to show to you guys, because that could be some of these grays that we see walking around. We've heard stories of that. And then we can't forget some of the stuff that's happened over in Peru. Now, this is a pretty cool photo. I put this in here because this was actually one of the coolest photos. Now, whether this was actually taken as what they're seeing, I don't know. I still haven't gotten that much information. A lot of it's just kind of back and forth, but a lot of you guys told me to investigate that a little bit more. Now, this next photo I'm going to show you was actually taken from there, and I don't know what this is. I don't know if it's something that's actually morphing or walking around, but I thought this was actually pretty interesting to show to you guys. So if you guys know anything about any of these photos, especially these alien photos, put something down in the comments, and then we can kind of discuss that from that point. Now, we're all pretty familiar with this. This was pretty popular. It's the ever famous UFO that was on TikTok. And it shows a UFO by a commercial airplane, and then a missile, as you guys see here, kind of shoots up, it kind of freezes, and then shoots past the craft. I guess the craft may have redirected it, and then you guys will kind of see it go over to the right somewhat, and then it'll actually shoot off. And I just slowed this down so you guys can actually see it in slow motion before I kind of speed it up. But I thought this one was pretty interesting. Now, someone could have went in and did some editing on this. There's been particular evaluation on it, but people were actually wondering why, one, the UFO is flying that close to a commercial airplane, and then two, why would we be shooting a missile actually at it? Especially being that close to a civilian craft or a civilian airplane. And there you guys see there. And then for the passenger to actually film this was actually made it just suspect. Now I understand why people would be skeptical of this. Then here it is, kind of zooming in a little bit. I believe when it actually stops the missile, you'll see kind of a distortion somewhat. And like I said, this could have been well planned out by someone. And this could have been a drone, some type of drone UFO. There's the distortion that people talk about when the missile shot up. It, like, some people said it actually made the missile freeze, and then it redirected it, maybe stopped time, and then it was able to actually get away and avoid the missile. All right, and this next one was from a user. He sent me, like, I guess about 10 minutes of good footage. But this right here was probably one of his best ones. He was driving down, had his dash cam on, and bam, he caught these particular objects. Here's still one, as he says here, as he's driving down. I think he got about 4 complete. As he's moving forward, you guys will see this here. I thought this was pretty interesting too, so this was actually worth showing for you guys for this best video footage of 2023. Now this next one, you guys are going to see this UFO. This plane is going and it actually shoots through the cloud, and the cloud moves. This is some pretty old footage. This is several years old, but it was my first time presenting it to the channel, and you guys kind of saw that there. And it's actually pretty amazing that it actually took some of the cloud with it as it actually moved through it. This one's going to be pretty interesting too. This is another commercial aircraft or airplane, and here they are catching these UFOs. And a lot of this I kind of slowed down so that you guys could kind of see it, because some of it's so fast I'd have to play it like 1,000,001 times for you guys to actually see what's actually being filmed. You guys see there, they're zooming in on it. And this is going to be one of the better footage of 2023. Now, some people said that was a balloon. We know that's not a balloon. We clearly know that's not a balloon. This is something else that's out there. It may not have been that large, but I think because of the size of it, people were saying it was a balloon. But this was actually one of the more popular videos of 2023 for UFOs. There were people in a small airplane. They saw some in the distance, and bam, they caught it on film. And there's been a lot of people on YouTube actually breaking this video down, and it seems more legit than anything else. And there it is, floating on its side, just like Bob Lazar said. They kind of tilt up. It's like the real UFOs kind of tilt up on their side, and that's kind of how they fly. So put your comments down below what you guys think about this. We got a couple more to go through. This next one, pretty interesting. Some people said this kind of reminded me of the Wonder Woman jet, but there's this craft just out here, and this guy just happened to actually film it. And you actually see a UFO actually fly, or you see an object fly by it so quick, but you actually see an object fly by it. Now, he's gonna zoom in and out, but it seems like whatever this is kind of stationary. Now, someone said this could be a balloon. For a balloon to be up that high, to be somewhat semi-transparent, is actually pretty interesting. I've never heard of that before, but you guys see he's kind of zooming out there. I've never heard or seen a balloon that had this particular shape to it. That was kind of, I guess, transparent a little bit. But it could be one of a number of things. You guys actually saw that object kind of fly by it. But it was definitely worth showing to you guys for some of the best footage, because you see he's zooming in and out. So that kind of gives a little bit more credibility when they kind of zoom in and zoom out and kind of give us some reference around it. It gives us a reference of how far the object's up and actually the size of the object. All right, y'all, and this last one's actually one of my favorite ones. Some people were saying this was flares. Flares actually don't actually fly through the sky like that. It seems like it's actually some kind of object, or maybe it's some type of craft, and they just were filming this. It's just, I don't know, it's still been a mystery. This has actually been on several news channels and stuff as well. This is what they should have been showing to the government in some of those UAP or UFO conferences that they had. Pretty amazing. You guys see there, they slowly start to disappear. And no other aircraft flew in front of it or anything like that. So all right, guys, that's going to be most of this for this year. I may do a part 2 because I have a lot more footage, but some of this stuff I thought was some of the best photos and videos that I had of 2023. So I have a lot more coming actually in 2024 this year. It's already started, but I have a lot more coming, a lot more updates, and a lot more just kind of overviews of particular people's experiences. I have some lives coming. I have some people coming on the channel later on this year. We're actually going to go live with them and ask them questions about their experience and stuff. So as always, guys, don't forget to like, subscribe, share this with your friends, put your comments down below. And I may do a part 2 because I did miss a lot more information. But if you guys want to see a part 2, I'll probably do it. Probably be about 5 to 10 minutes long, because I still need to cover those UFO and UAP conferences that they recently had. But I thought this was some of the best information to put out there thus far. So anyway, don't forget to like, subscribe, share this with your friends. As always, I appreciate you guys, and I'll see you in the next video.